My condo has a lot of Wi-Fi congestion. We recently switched from AT&T fiber optics to BlueStream fiber optics, and I'm going to share my observations. I'm going to use some terms like Wi-Fi band, Wi-Fi channel, DFS, dynamic frequency selection, and band steering, and I'll try to explain it as I go along. What is a Wi-Fi band? Wi-Fi band refers to the radio frequencies 2.4, 5, and 6. Each band is divided into channels. The 2.4 gigahertz band is divided into 11 channels. Only 1, 6, and 11 are non-overlapping channels. Wi-Fi is polite and it listens and takes turns with other routers on its channel. Wi-Fi ignores traffic on other channels. AT&T does not auto channel to the 1, 6, and 11 standards that everybody else is using. They use off channels and have since the DSL days. In 2008 through 2015, my only option was the overcrowded, incredibly slow 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band. Only a few of my neighbors had internet, and there was a lot of interference. A lot of cordless home phones were still in use, and there were lots of times around mealtime when the internet would freeze from 1 to 5 minutes for microwaves. And when some of my neighboring networks were using channels that overlapped, my speed was significantly impacted. Let me show you what this looks like. This is a 2.4 gigahertz band, and this is what it looked like on October 25th, 2025. There were only about 30% my neighbors here, and even in the middle of the night, the speed, maximum speed I could get was 65 megabits per second. Daytime speed was significantly slower, and during the season, January through April, I'm lucky if I could get 11 megabits per second. Now you see that at the bottom here, we have channels. There's channel 1, there's channel 6, and there's channel 11. They don't overlap, but there are several people on channel 3. That's typically where you see AT&T routers in the olden days. We have somebody whose router has decided to hop to 7. We have other people that have hopped to channel 8. We have a person on 10, and we have another person, a lot of people on 11. Anytime these people are talking, they only have to listen for 2 other networks. Over here, these people are taking turns with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 networks, and they're going to wait. And when nobody's talking, they're going to speak. But this guy is going to clobber them because it doesn't care. So these guys on 8 are fast, but they reduce the speed on channel 6. That's Wi-Fi interference. And a lot of people say that that's not true, but that's what it was like. Okay, BlueStream came along, and they use the standard things. We still have 2 people on 2 networks on channel 7. So if I were on channel 6, I'd have a really slow speed. I know that. But I couldn't find any way to change channels on BlueStream. I have no idea. I'm over here. I outlined myself in red. That's inside my condo. I still have neighbors that are louder than me. And that was on December 25th. Some of these people are still on AT&T on the correct channels. Others are not. In 2014, 2015, while we were still running Xfinity cable internet, I got my first dual band router. And I found out the joys of using the 5 gigahertz band of Wi-Fi. My cable modem location was dictated by the only coax outlet that was strong enough to get all the channels in my TV package. It was not centrally located and it didn't cover my whole condo with a 5 gigahertz band. And then not all my equipment at the time supported 5 gigahertz. Smooth streaming on the 5 gigahertz band versus the glacially slow, unreliable 2.4 band was hard to ignore. I started upgrading all of my equipment to dual band. I got a couple of little adapters in it for my laptops, and I was very happy. The 5 gigahertz band is relatively free of electronic interference, has a maximum usable input range of 50 feet indoors. That's from corner to corner of any of your condos. That is the maximum without any interference. It has trouble penetrating walls. It's significantly faster because it doesn't have to speak slowly to handle legacy equipment, and it has lots of channels available. In 2016, we changed to AT&T optical. I got my first band steering router, and I had my first experience with DFS. DFS is dynamic frequency selection. It provides extra Wi-Fi channels by sharing space with radar. There's strict rules that if you're on a DFS channel, you have to immediately vacate it if there's any signs of radar. Okay, so here I am on channel 44. This graph is a little bit off because I'm really on channel 44. All of us are on channel 44. That is my main router. One of these little guys over here with my little Wi-Fi access point for the TV boxes, the UVerse boxes that we had. DFS channels range from 52 to 144, and they are very specific. You have to move if you vacate that channel immediately if it recognizes radar or anything that it doesn't recognize as a signal. That black router that I had, that would have allowed me to do what this guy did, which is he parked his router on that channel for 3 years and never moved. Every time I looked at it, it was on 3. Okay. The trouble with DFS channels is a lot of dual equipment, especially streamers don't see DFS channels. Now, our UVerse boxes used to see this, and we get this UVerse signal has been lost. If you haven't seen this like 2-3 times a day, you probably don't have Wi-Fi interference in your condo. But I have a lot of Wi-Fi interference, a lot of channel hopping, and I see this all the time. Not as bad as when I first, because they gave me a access point that doesn't use DFS channels for a while, because it was changing. I saw this every 15 minutes the first day I had the service. And you get excessive Wi-Fi channels. I used to especially at dusk. On October 25th, or in October 2025, I received this new AT&T BGW320 mode router. There was no option to stop using DFS channels. I had to go in and auto channel with a 5 gigahertz band a couple of times a day to land on a non-DFS channel so that my equipment could work until we switched over to BlueStream. It was a horrible month. In November, on November 19th, I got this equipment installed. This was the BlueStream ONT modem. And then these little things over here are called plumes. I got one. This was supposed to be a mesh network. If you get more than one of these, it's it's a mesh, and one's the master and talks to the other one. After the guy left, my initial speed with the plume was 57 megabits per second. They located it between the dresser and on the other side of the wall there was this couch. I couldn't get any speed. I relocated my plume to the top of my dresser with this little surge protector, and it immediately hopped up to 357. So that was physical interference. Like I said, 5 gigahertz does not travel well through, it does not penetrate walls, it does not penetrate a 200-pound dresser stuffed with clothes. It didn't like that. And this was what I was seeing the first day I got in here. And this was a few days after I installed. And I see that, look how wide this is. They are using an 80 width. That's faster. The wider the channel, the faster. And that's me, 6447. But I'm really on this one, 6447. So they've given me 2 channels. I've got 44 and 157. And I can see a couple of my other neighbors had this. This is what it looked like on December 25th. As you can see, most of my neighbors now have this one wide one, and then we're all on this channel 157. This channel over here, this wide one, is really fast. This one is pretty fast. It's narrower than my my original 4 megahertz wide channel is over here. So it's great. If I land on this one, my speed is capped at 350, 360. It's usually between 200 and 300. If I land on channel 44, I'm getting between 450 and 630. Great speed. I need 50. I'm going to consume 50 at the highest point in my day. I'd have no control over which one I land on, but both of them are sufficient. Okay, we're going to talk about band steering. Band steering is when both the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz band use the same service set identifier, SSID, or Wi-Fi name, and the router decides which is best. AT&T band steering switches me to 2.4 gigahertz anytime I'm not in the same room with the router. So instead of running at 300 megabits per second, it chooses the 11 megabits per second because the signal's stronger. Yeah. BlueStream keeps me on 5 gigahertz everywhere in my condo except at the dining table when the air handler is on for the AC or heat. Then sometimes it switches me to 2.4. I don't compute there, so it's not a problem. But band steering can be a real problem. My neighbor downstairs couldn't get his fire stick to work in his bedroom. His wife was an invalid at the time. He wanted TV in there. He asked me down. I looked at it. His AT&T router couldn't decide because they were equal strength, and it kept switching him from 2.4 to 5, 2.4 to 5, so he could only see a few frames of a movie at a time before it would switch. That's called thrashing. The cons for AT&T is it does not adhere to the 1611 rule for Wi-Fi on 2.4, making it exceedingly slow. The band steering is too quick to switch to the 2.4 band. It uses the DFS channels on the 5 gigahertz, which a lot of equipment can't see. The newer router does not allow you to set a static channel or avoid DFS channels on the 5 gigahertz to accommodate most streaming devices. The older router has too much flexibility, allowing people to stay on the same same radar channel for 3 years without switching. And of course, the pricing is different for everyone. The pros, it still allows you to manage management through a browser on any device. You can turn off band steering, although on the newer router, it does no good unless all of your 5 gigahertz equipment also works on DFS channels. BlueStream Con, you only get one service call per condo included over a 10-year period. The Plume app for the network management is awful. You can't manage your router from a computer. You must have a smartphone or a tablet, and those granny phones that they sell to seniors don't count because they don't run apps. The plume is usually mounted too low, 15 inches above the ground, so it has a lot of physical interference. And the extra Wi-Fi hop in the mesh multi-plume network may slow down throughput. I don't know. I didn't get 2 plumes. Almost everybody after my install, I got installed on the first day. Almost everybody after that got 2 plumes. And the BlueStream Pros, it uses 1.611 convention on the 2.4. I couldn't measure that because I couldn't get my equipment to go to the 2.4 band because it gives preference to the 5. I don't know what happens. It holds on to the 5 gigahertz band throughout my condo, and it does not use the FS channel. My preference so far, the winner has been BlueStream. Ask me again if I need a service call, I might change my mind. The ability to get 5 gigahertz preference without having to get into router management is a huge plus for many people.